Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here today. My name is Paige, and I am the Vertical Marketing Manager over the Veterinary Vertical here at Weave. We are so excited to be bringing you this webinar today. We're going to be talking about 5 ways to increase patient retention in 2023. We know a lot of you guys are very busy, and sometimes patient retention is one of those things to slip through the cracks. So we've got a few strategies to help support you and your practice in the new year. A couple housekeeping things. Any questions you may have, please submit them in the chat or in the Q&A section of that chat, and I will go through and answer those at the end. And if you're interested in seeing a demo of Weave at any point, feel free to click on that button at the top of your screen. We also have a promotion going on right now. Anyone who sees a demo during this month will receive a $50 Starbucks gift card. So if you're interested in that, take advantage. And let's go ahead and get started. Before we jump into those 5 strategies I mentioned, we need to kind of understand why patient retention is so important. I primarily work with the veterinary industry here at Weave, and I know that they specifically are so busy with new clients. They kind of can't keep up with all the demand to get into the vet right now. So sometimes retention is kind of the first thing to slip because you're just worried about getting as many people in as possible. According to a physician's practice survey, 36% of patients left a healthcare provider in the previous 2 years. And by increasing patient retention by just 5%, a practice has the capability to increase the value of an average patient in lifetime profits by 25 to 100%. So this is kind of why it's so important for your healthcare practice to focus on not just acquisition, but retaining and creating loyal patients, because in the long run, it will definitely be more profitable for your practice. So here are the 5 strategies that we are going to dive into over the course of this presentation. Number 1, building patient relationships. Number 2, valuing your employees. Number 3, making scheduling easy. Number 4, excellent communication. And number 5, soliciting feedback. So the first one that we're going to dive into here is building patient relationships. First piece of this is the front office focus, which might be a little bit obvious because it's the first in-person impression that your practice makes. But it's super important. Practices have the potential to lose millions of dollars at the front desk due to poor processes in place or improperly trained front office staff. So some things to focus on here are greeting patients promptly. So even if you're super busy, lines ringing off the hook, you have a line of people, greeting them, letting them know that you'll be right with them will really help them know, okay, I've been acknowledged. I don't mind waiting. They know I'm here. They'll get to me when they can. Keep wait times as low as possible. Proper billing and insurance inquiries. So knowing exactly what to do with different insurance questions and billing processes will really help keep the wait times low, but also just keep your patients really happy. And then a clean and positive office presentation, which again might seem obvious, but I think it's something that sometimes is hard to keep up with. The next one is building patient trust. So go above and beyond. It is always better to over-deliver on expectations. I think that especially through COVID and kind of post-COVID, there is a set of expectations that patients have now. So trying to kind of over-deliver on that is always going to set you up for success. Get to know your patients. So those loyal patients that are returning back to you multiple times a year, you should know who they are, why they come and see you. Even if you keep track of that in your note system or your software, being able to go back and see information about this person and connect with them personally will go a long way. You just want to make sure that they are receiving the best experience and follow-up possible. And then show appreciation and gratitude to your patients. They are the reason that you are successful and in this business. And so just be really grateful for them and that they've chosen you to be their healthcare provider. And then be open with mistakes. So maybe you forgot to call a patient back. You overbooked the practice, running late to work. The best course of action here is to just be honest, apologize sincerely, and offer options to repair the issue. I think as consumers in any realm, I think that we just prefer to be talked to honestly and figure out how to remedy the situation, and it's usually pretty well received. Next is increasing loyalty. So a few ideas here are implementing a referral program. So you guys probably already know this, but word of mouth is usually the highest driver of new business for healthcare practices. So why not implement a program to reward your loyal referrers? Maybe it's like a small gift card, maybe it's a discount to something. But your customers that are going around town raving about you definitely deserve something in return. So a referral program is great for this. Encourage reviews. So send an automated text message to patients right after their successful appointment, inviting them to leave a Google review. This is something that the Weave software provides, but it's great because it gets your patients thinking about like, wow, I really did have a great experience and I want to share that and I want to help out my practice that I just visited. So it helps create loyalists out of them. And then reward loyal patients. So this is a little bit different than a referral program. It has nothing to do with referrals necessarily, but people who remain loyal to your practice over a set number of years or a set number of visits, maybe they get deals, special offers, other perks. Even if it's just like an email congratulating them on their 5-year anniversary of being a patient of yours, anything like that. I think kind of rewarding your loyal patients and those who keep coming back is a great way to go about this. So these few strategies that I just mentioned, number 1, front office focus, number 2, building patient trust, and number 3, increasing loyalty, while obvious, I think is something that gets easily overlooked and will surely help your practice build overall patient relationships. So number 2 is value your employees. So the focus of this webinar is on retaining your patients. So it might seem a little bit backwards to focus on your employees, but hear me out for a second. Happy employees equal happy patients. So I know many healthcare practices are dealing with staffing shortages right now. So it's more important than ever to try to avoid employee turnover. It might seem like a backwards way to retain your patients, but constant employee turnover shines a negative light on your practice for several reasons. First, it can be expensive because time has to be spent interviewing and then training your new employees, but it also hurts the morale of your employees and therefore your patients. So it's really important to keep valued employees because it helps your patients see right through that and it will help you keep valued patients. So here's some strategies that specifically Todd Snyder, who's an international author, lecturer, and consultant, shared on our blog recently. He's in the dental space, and these will help you reduce employee turnover and therefore increase patient retention. So a study funded by Make Their Day, Employee Recognition That Works, states that 88% of employees surveyed found praise from their managers very or extremely motivational. It's really important to personalize the praise and make a regular habit of it. So we're going to talk really quickly about feedback versus praise. So feedback might be saying, thank you, good job, versus praise would look something like this. Thank you, Dave. Spending extra time with our last patient to answer all of her questions was very helpful and saved me time since I was behind. I really appreciate it. That might seem long and like maybe you don't have time for that in the day. But if you take the time to do this, your employees will notice. They will continue those actions and it will really help motivate them. So in the long run, it will definitely be beneficial for you. Create a fun work environment. Again, this is just obvious, but I think the day-to-day to-do lists and tasks kind of overtakes this sometimes, but try to make time for you and your staff to do things together in the office. Even just bringing in coffee and donuts in the morning once in a while goes a long way. Maybe try a suggestion box and encourage fresh friendships and get to know your employees. If your employees enjoy their work, it will show in how they interact with your patients. So this is super important. Last, take advantage of technology. So make your staff members' jobs easier with software that automates mundane tasks and lets them focus on work that really matters. So I can't imagine that staff enjoys the 2 hours they spend per day making reminder phone calls. So something like text reminders could work better. So this is an example here on the right of what that looks like, but in the Weave software, you're actually able to segment lists of people by appointment scheduled. So maybe all the appointments within the next week or even just tomorrow, sending out a personalized text message to let them know about their appointment. And it's automated and they can respond in any positive affirmation or negative, and it helps with that scheduling process as well. But this would help take that mundane activity off of your staff members, which I think would really help with overall job satisfaction as well. Help your employees save for retirement. So offering your staff members retirement savings benefits if possible. It's just really hard to keep good quality employees without something like this in place. And although you might believe you're saving money by not offering this to employees, I think employee turnover and can definitely lead to more expenses in the future. The cost to replace and train an employee can be expensive, so this is definitely something to keep in mind. And then last, offering a bonus plan. So this will really help keep your employees motivated by aligning goals. So this can help align your goals as the practice owner or the office manager with the goals of your team members, allowing you all to work towards a common purpose. It can help improve satisfaction and accomplishment. A bonus program can eliminate the monotony of everyday tasks and help team members feel more satisfied and accomplished in their work. It can bring meaning to daily tasks. It can give your employees a reason to work hard and go above and beyond, aside from simply helping out the business, which doesn't always benefit them personally. And it can help reduce turnover. An incentive program can motivate employees to continue working at your practice, reducing staff turnover and those additional expenses that come with that we have talked about. Okay, moving on to number 3, which is make scheduling easy. You guys probably already know this, but scheduling is crucial for a successful practice. It helps you to greatly increase the convenience and satisfaction of your patients. So you guys are patients of other places, and just think about if you have a dog and kids and yourself and you're trying to go to the dentist and optometrist and physical therapist and veterinarian, how many different appointments and scheduling things have to take place for this to happen. So making this easy for your patients is really, really important. And here's a few ways you can go about doing that. So two-way texting. With Weave specifically, you can allow your patients to text directly to your office phone number, which is great, instead of just a random phone number. And it's great to easily discuss scheduling all through text, which is the preferred communication method for the majority of your patients. And it's just an easy way. I know myself, I work behind a computer most days, and it's really hard for me to get on the phone, to change an appointment. I know I have a chiropractor appointment tomorrow, and they are going to text me later today to confirm. And it's just easier for me to pick up my phone and text them back versus answer a phone call. So this is something that I know for me as a patient, I really prefer, and I think a lot of your patients will as well. You can also use texting to keep your schedule full. So one way that Weave allows you to do this is quickly messaging multiple waitlist patients. So you could have a list of patients who have called in trying to make an appointment or texted in, and maybe your schedule is full. You put them on a wait list. Then when an opening comes up by someone who canceled, you can quickly message that list of waitlist patients. It would look something like this on the right. This is Faircroft Partners. We wanted to let you know we have some openings in our schedule. Please let us know if any of those times work for you. This is great because it helps keep your schedule full, which is good for you, obviously, but it helps patients get in sooner, which is also good for them. And then last here is online scheduling. So appointment requests let your customers provide times that work for them on your website. And then you have the flexibility to approve each appointment request at the time it's convenient for you. So you can hop on and look at all of those and approve them. And these are just some of the ways you can work to make scheduling less of a pain point for your patients. Okay, moving along to excellent communication. So first, we're going to talk about in-office communication tactics. So like when your patients are in the office visiting you. Number one is clear statements. So keeping your diagnosis and explanations clear and straightforward. This will give patients a transparent picture of the situation and help them understand what they need to do going forward. This will also help your clients or patients know if they need to follow up and schedule an additional appointment. Active listening. The difference between active listening and listening comes in hearing more than just the words that are being said. Active listening is not only paying attention to what is being said, but what emotions and feelings are being said. Consider asking more open-ended questions or rephrasing just what you heard to avoid funneling answers and approaching the conversation with better active listening skills. I know I mentioned this before, but I work primarily in the veterinary industry. And a great example of this is something that veterinarians have to deal with all the time, unfortunately, which is euthanasia of pets. And this can be a very difficult conversation to have with pet owners. And so they really work very hard to implement some of these communication tactics to make sure that they're really providing empathy and helping their pet parents through this time while also delivering a service. And so, active listening is really important when it comes to a super serious topic like euthanasia, but also just in your everyday consultations or appointments. And then last, nonverbal language. Always be aware of the nonverbal body language you convey, as well as trying to pick up on your patient's nonverbal language. And then this one is kind of the out-of-office communication. So phone, when a customer calls in, this is what Weave can help. So this image on the right here is called Call Pop, and it will pop up on your computer screen as the phone is ringing. So before you even pick it up, it will pop up and it will show all this information like who's calling, information about their next appointment, their balance on their account. So instead of answering the phone saying, hi, who is this? Trying to find their information in your patient records, it's already there for you. So it really eliminates a lot of questions needing to be asked, which is great for the patient calling in, but also really great for you in saving time on the phone. And then email. So you can use email marketing to share promotions or newsletters with your patients. Email is also essential for communicating other critical updates like changing office hours, temporarily closing, reopening, opening in a new location. These are some of the ways that you can use email to communicate with your patients. And then text. Almost 9 out of 10 customers want to engage via text, something I mentioned earlier. But engage your patients this way through updates, scheduling appointments, request payment, and answer questions. And Weave allows you to do all of this through texting. And like I said, that goes straight to your business phone number, which is awesome. And then our last strategy here is soliciting feedback from your patients. So why is this important? Why do you want to do this? So with so many options for patients to receive their care, it is very important to understand their needs. No one can tell you more about what your patients expect and need than they can themselves. Patient satisfaction surveys are a very important tool for you to achieve customer retention in your practice. So what should you include in your survey? The main question you really want to focus on here is overall satisfaction. So just overall, are they satisfied? This question will help give you insight into if they are out there referring you, if they are going to come back again. This is just a really great question that you really want to make sure you get the answer to. It's also important to ask an open-ended question. This gives your patients an opportunity to give you feedback that you may not have thought to include on the survey. Also, if they're experiencing an issue, or if they just have really great praise and feedback, having an opportunity for them to actually be able to type in something a little bit longer in an open-ended question is great. Make sure you're using consistent scales. So an example of this is like excellent to poor, but just make sure that that is consistent throughout the survey. And then really strive for anonymity. I know sometimes it's helpful to know who's responding what when you're trying to mitigate issues, but overall, you're going to get better responses if your surveys are anonymous. So how would you actually send out this survey? I think there's two ways here you can do this. It would be a link to a short survey here following your appointment. So when it's fresh in their mind is when you want to send it. You could do this via email or you could do this via text. And with Weave, you could even set these up to be automated. So it's not something you have to worry about sending. It would just automatically go out. And the most important part of soliciting feedback is actually implementing changes. So while you don't have to act on every suggestion that your patients give you, you should take action on the key items that are causing dissatisfaction. Remember, your goal is to improve quality, not to place blame, but this can be a great training tool for your staff. And it can really just help you better the processes within your practice and create a way better patient experience. So that wraps up the 5 strategies to increase patient retention in 2023. Those were, one more time, 1, build patient relationships. Number 2, value employees. Number 3, make scheduling easy. Number 4, excellent communication. And number 5, soliciting feedback. So I am going to open the time up for Q&A here and see if anyone has any questions. Again, feel free to just throw them in the chat or put them in the Q&A section. Okay, looks like we have one here. What if you have an employee that has a bad patient interaction, causing them to consider leaving your practice? Like I mentioned earlier, with the actual patient themselves, honesty, accepting blame, and kind of remedying the issue are the best way to go about it. So your patients understand that things happen. They know that if they know you are seeing the issues they're experiencing and are taking steps to remedy those issues, they are usually pretty forgiving in these types of instances. With your staff member or employee, use this as a teachable moment, unless it was like a fireable offense or something very serious. Just explain your expectations for patient interactions and as well as your appreciation for them as an employee. Try to see like where they were coming from, why they did what they did, and lead with empathy as much as possible in these types of situations. But they can usually be great teachable moments if you allow them to be. Okay, anyone else here? Okay, someone just wanted a little bit more clarification on the referral program to increase loyalty. So yeah, this is something that can be really great for increasing loyalty in your clients. So like I said, word of mouth is usually the biggest like marketing for your practice. And so rewarding your patients who are out there spreading your name to people is great. So something you could do is if your patient refers someone new into your practice, maybe your patient gets 20% off their next service, or maybe they get a $5 Starbucks gift card, or maybe they get just something to, maybe even if you don't have budget for anything like that, even just an email saying like, thank you so much for being a loyal patient. You referred blah, blah, blah to us. We loved treating them. Thank you so much. Just something to let them know that you see that and care and appreciate it will go a long way. And it will create a super loyal patient out of that person who referred you because they're like, oh, I like referring new people to them. I love this practice. I love them enough to go out and tell other people about it. So creating some kind of referral program. And like I said, I don't think it needs to be huge. If you have no budget, an email's awesome. But percentage off of services, small gift cards, anything like that, I think can go a really long way. So this is something I would definitely think about implementing. I hope that answers your question, Krista. Anyone else? Take a look here in the chat. Okay, one more question here. Can I utilize two-way texting for my patients when I'm not in the office? Since you mentioned it was coming from my office phone number. Yes, which is awesome, especially for practice owners who maybe are at home or away from the office, but still thinking about work. So with the Weave mobile app, which you would just download directly to your mobile device, you can use that app to send and receive text messages. through the app, like wherever you are, but it will all still come from the office phone number. So that's really great if you're out of the office. You don't have to be there to be texting from the office phone number. You can use the Weave mobile app on any mobile device, which is really great. And again, just allows you to make text messaging your clients easier, regardless what time of day. And it just really helps with that good communication strategy that we talked about. Okay, any other questions? Give it one more second here. Okay, I think that's all we have today. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, my name is Paige, and I'm really happy that we got to cover kind of 5 strategies for increasing patient retention in 2023. I really hope this information was helpful and will give your practice something to think about and focus on in the new year. And I wish you all the best of luck. Thanks for joining us here today. Bye-bye, everyone.